Good afternoon, Kavibal, and welcome to our Supplemental Materials webinar series. For today's discussion, our topic would be on creating engaging lessons through the use of supplemental resource materials. Before we begin, take note of the following reminders. Make sure you are registered to the webinar to have your e-certificate of participation. Visit certificate.vibalgroup.com to generate your proof of attendance. Place your questions on the comment box allotted during the session and they will be addressed by our speaker later on. Share the video using hashtag LearnAs1PH as our official hashtag to our Vibal webinars. Experience learning ka Vibal. And now, to proceed with our webinar this afternoon, it is my pleasure to introduce to you our distinguished speaker. She is currently the director of the Office of International Affairs of the Polytechnic University of the Philippines. At the same time, she is an assistant professor in the Department of Psychology of the same university. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ms. Jonna Carla CBN RN MP.
So, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the webinar series on supplemental materials organized by the Bibal Group. First of all, it is a very great day to have it with you because this would be very essential for sharing some of create materials which could be very useful for all of us, especially for the teachers, educators, and lecturers who would be used tools whenever they do teachings in the different schools they are engaged with. So for today, my topic is about creating engaging lessons through the use of supplemental resource materials. So before I begin, I would be requesting everyone to please log into www.menti.com and use the code given 757827. There is a question that I would like you to answer. Again, I repeat, please log in to www.menti.com and use the given code I have showed a while ago here, 757827. And please answer the question. I'll be giving you a few minutes for this. So let's just wait for other participants to give their answers. Okay, so as you could see, the results are being shown. Others are saying feeling great, just fine. Others are having a bad day. Okay, so I'll be giving few seconds for this and we'll proceed on with our discussion. Wow, it's really nice to see that mostly the percentage answered that they are feeling great. Well, that's very good. Others are just fine. And a few percentage are having a bad day. Oh, I hope you will feel better soon, whatever is it that you're going through with life. I hope you'll be able to overcome that. Okay, so it's good to hear your responses. I feel that you are with me, even though we are doing this online discussion, which is different from what we were used to before, an actual discussion, a live discussion. It's all right. I still feel that we are connected to one another. And I hope you'll continue to have a great day ahead. Okay, let's proceed. Take a look at the illustrations here. In the first illustration, you could see a teacher inside a classroom delivering lessons, giving discussions, and on the other side here, we see somebody using computer. Next, classroom, we are having discussions, we prepare our visual aids, we have our learning materials, we have everything that we use for teaching our students and teaching. And it's really challenging for everybody, not only for the students, but also for the teachers as to how they will address the concerns that the education system is doing. And for the students, how will they be able to effectively acquire the information and the knowledge that the teachers are giving them? So as we continue, here are the contents of today's discussion. First would be the definition of supplementary resource materials. Next would be the purpose, then the features, followed by the characteristics of supplementary resource materials. Next are the things to consider and the classification of supplementary resource materials. At some point of our discussions, there are some questions which I would also like you to participate using the menti.com once again. And I do hope that you respond for us to get more ideas coming from you. So let's proceed. First part would be the definition of the supplemental resource materials. These are materials in teaching which are used to extend and support instruction and address the needs of the learners. At the same time, we have to take note that these are not designed to be the sole instructional resource for a course, but they serve to complement and enrich the content of comprehensive resources. Like what is written here, they are just used to complement and enrich the comprehensive resources that we utilize as instructions for our students. However, these are very useful. Like for example, you're eating ice cream or you are choosing which of the flavors. Ano kaya ang pipiliin ko dito? Ito bang mango, yung kulay dilaw, yung kulay white which is vanilla, the strawberry, or the chocolate? And you could see meron siyang mga cones na nakalagay. If you want to enhance its taste, if you want to make it more appealing, you could add some toppings like this. You could add Rice Krispies, you could add some creams, chocolate creams, you could add some candies on it, even some fruits like the cherry. So same thing. As we teach, it's not solely pure discussion. We utilize our time not only talking and talking and talking, but we add some different strategies on how our students would be able to absorb what are we talking about or what are we trying to impart to them. In traditional teaching, we have to be very considerate of what we are doing inside the classroom. It's a challenge that the students maintain their focus as well as their attention whenever they are inside our lectures or whenever we are having the lectures. It's really a challenge to make the students engage. Kung mapapansin po natin, there are instances that the students would be like parang wala silang gana, parang hindi naman nakikinig. They are physically present but mentally they are somewhere else. They are thinking of somewhere else. They are doing something else at the same time. And minsan, it is really irritating whenever we see some students not paying attention. And so, ginagamitan natin ng technique or ng taktika para makuha natin ang attention ng mga students. Another illustration of the traditional teaching that uses some supplemental materials. Of course, the supplemental materials would be dependent on the age group of the participants. Later, we will discuss more on this. And this time, for the online teaching, Nowadays, nasanay na tayo that we are facing the students virtually. They would be appearing in different boxes in front of your screen, showing their names, showing their faces, and some of them would sometimes even mute their microphones. Some of them would mute their videos so that they would not be seen. And sometimes it would be really difficult to check if they are still with us whenever we are having the discussions. Another way for some teachers, although they utilize the online teaching, they would still use actual supplementary materials as they go along with their discussions. Now, I have mentioned some of the purposes of the supplementary materials based on the definition which was given. So here are some of additions to it. First of all, it adds variety to teaching. Given with this, adding variations to teaching, like what I have mentioned, you do not just talk all the time. You could also utilize some of the resources to make it more varied, to make it more interesting, to make it more engaging, and at the same time, to make your learners acquire more of the information. It also allows the students to participate. Iba po ang participation because they just want to comply with what you instructed them to do in comparison with the participation that they do because they enjoy participating it. So that's a challenge that you have to utilize. Next, it helps motivate the learners. When a person is motivated, that person's attention, focus, as well as interest would be on the lesson that he or she is acquiring. Though it is very difficult to do it, that person will strive kasi interesado siya. The heart of the person is there. At the same time, the person will be encouraged to do more. Another, it saves time and effort while presenting learning items. Bakit saving time and effort? Because as you make discussions and you supply it with something, what happens is that they tend to understand it more kasi may reinforcement yung binibigay mong lecture. Bukod sa binigay mong discussions, nare-reinforce siya with additional references or additional sources that you are providing with them. Another, the supplemental materials are useful to get information about the people and the culture. So we always consider this since we are now advancing. We also have to consider what are the practices of the different culture. Especially for some schools, they have foreign students or they have international students. It would be very important that we know the culture of the people. Why? If we know the culture, we will be able to understand these people. If we understand them, we would be able to know what their interests are, why are they behaving that way, and as we know those things, that could help us better to do more into the discussions and what should be added as a supplement on the teaching materials that we are giving them. Another, it enables the learners to understand and grasp information. So kung nag-discuss ka na, tapos meron ka pang idadagdag, napapakinggan niya, napapanood niya, nababasa niya, then retention of the information would be better at this point. Next, here are some of the features of supplementary resource materials. First of all, it should be informative. Informative. It gives information relevant to the topic that you are going to discuss or that you will be discussing. So it is better before you start your lesson or during the first day of your class, lagi naman po natin ginagawa, we have the syllabus, we give them or we discuss the sequence of the topics that we are going to discuss with them. And with that, they could check on asa na ba kami? Kung ito yung topic ngayon, then these are the things I'll be expecting to know about this particular thing. Another, if it's informative, then we are able to provide the right information, the right details, the right things that the students must be able to know. And one challenge here, we do not solely rely on a single book or a single textbook as to the teaching materials that we'll be using. We incorporate other sources. It's not only the books. We have other sources like articles, like journals, like publications, like research materials. We could combine them all. We could get information from those and we could share it with our students at the same time. Another, it should be instructional. Instructional meaning it serves as a guide as our students discuss the information or as the students follow us on how we deliver or discuss the lessons that we are sharing with them. Instructional in the sense that we give clear details on how they are supposed to be done. Like for example, you will be showing a video to them. Don't just simply say, watch this video. Lalo po, di ba, sa mga bata, sa mga elementary, hindi lang basta sasabihin, panoorin mo yan. Bakit mo siya kailangan panoorin? Ano yung lesson na pwede mong makuha sa pagpapanood mo dyan? Para saan yung video na yan? And many things like that. It should be instructional. They should be able to grasp what you expect from them. So make sure that as you choose the supplemental resource materials, it is something that would really guide them on what they should be doing with that information. Another, it should be experiential. By experiential, we could say that we involve the hands-on practices of these students. Paano po yung hands-on na hindi naman kami nagkikita? It's still possible because there are a lot of platforms that we use. There are a lot of platforms that we utilize that could be utilized coming from the internet, coming from online sources that would make them feel that they are really a part of that. O kaya naman po, there are also some instances wherein you show them an actual material. You present them the actual material. Lalo sa mga arts teacher, pwede nilang ipakita yung kanilang artwork, yung kanilang illustration sa kanilang mga estudyante. Then it should be encouraging, not in the sense that they will be disheartened if they will not be able to make it. It should be motivating at the same time in case they will not be able to do good at a first trial or at some point. Still, you push them to do good and to try again and again. At the same time, it's exploratory. Exploratory, using the minds of these people. I'm sure yung mga estudyante natin napaka-takingan. Mas marunong pa yan sa atin. They could explore a lot. They could try a lot. They could even utilize platforms that we don't know. But make sure when they explore, they are being guided very well as you give good instructions that they could really follow. Next, here are some of the things which we could consider in using these supplementary materials. First of all, it should be attractive. When we speak of this, attractive doesn't only pertain to how they see things, the visual aspect, but it should also be attractive in the auditory part of it. Kung ano yung nakikita nila, kung ano yung naririnig nila, it should come hand in hand. And it's important that they know, they enjoy what they are seeing, they are also enticed to what they are hearing. Okay? Kaya po, sa ating mga PowerPoint presentations na inire-ready, I know you are doing a lot of effort for the students. Nagpe-prepare po tayo. It takes time. Hindi naman tayo makontento lang that we will just copy and paste, and it's a no-no na i-copy and i-paste lang natin. We do not just download ready-made PowerPoint presentations and present it to our students. I know everybody is doing an effort to prepare their own presentations in any platform that you are comfortable with. Medyo matrabaho po, pero importante na talagang pinagtsatsagaan natin ang paggawa ng mga presentations na ito. Another thing, bakit? We will be feeling fulfilled. I know everybody feels fulfilled even at a very exhausting day when we are able to deliver our lessons well to our students and we see that they appreciate all our efforts. Alam ko po, pinaghihirapan yung gawin yan. And ipagpatuloy lang po natin ang paggawa ng ating mga materials for discussions and teaching because it counts a lot on how our students acquire this knowledge. Di po ba sa traditional learnings or sa traditional discussions, may mga estudyante tayo kung nakikita ninyo, habang nagdi-discuss ka, gumagamit ka ng PowerPoint presentations or nagsusulat ka sa board, pinipicturean nila yung mga lectures natin. Tinitignan nila. Okay? May ibang professors po na ayaw na gano'n or may mga ibang teachers na ayaw na gano'n, na pinipicturean lang ng bata. They would want the students to write, but make sure it's something attractive. Lalo po ngayon, naka-online tayo. It's really a challenge to make our students focus on what we are saying and what we are doing. So we have to maintain the attractiveness of our presentations as well as the materials that we are presenting for them. Another, it is well organized. As you could see later on, I will be showing an example of a material which could be used for teachings and for discussions for our students. Well organized. You group things accordingly. Usually we begin with the title for the first slide. The title of your topic, the date, we could include the date, your name as the one who prepared that. And afterwards, you show what would be the contents, what would they be expecting from that presentation or from that lesson. And then later on, you could add these are the activities for them to answer. Or kung gusto nyo pa po, dagdagan nyo pa. It's up to you. As long as you classify accordingly, what are the things needed for them to know and for them to be able to carry out. Another, it should be familiar to learners. Maganda pong gumamit tayo ng mga bagong gamit or bagong resources. However, we should ensure that our students could cope with that. Kung hindi pa sila familiar, we could make them be familiar to it. Okay? Pwede po natin gawing familiar sa kanila. The first time we will be the one to present it. The first time we will be the one to demonstrate it. And we will let our students try after we show them how to do it. We do not simply say, oh, gamitin mo to. Mag-PowerPoint ka, lagyan mo ng hyperlink, lagyan mo ng animations, lagyan mo ng slide transitions, then submit. Tapos tatanungin ka, ma'am, paano po yun? Don't simply say, o i-research mo na lang yan. Maganda pa rin po that we are able to input something for them and we would be expecting questions. Magtatanong po yan kung paano po ito gagawin, lalo kung hindi po sila familiar. And so, that's why I would suggest that when you recommend something for them to utilize or for them to try on, you yourself is already familiar with that. Kasi po, you should be the first one to know what your students will be utilizing. Tayo naman po ang makakapag-control noon. Although, gumagamit talaga sila ng ibang sources or ng ibang materials, but what would be requiring from them is something that would be coming from us. Therefore, we should be comfortable in using it at the same time. Next, motivating as well as appropriate. Appropriateness of this would be connected with its suitability for the learner's interest, for the learner's age, as well as the needs. I am very particular with the learner's age. Bakit po? Of course, all of the students, as we consider their age, we would see that they have different needs. We could see that they have different point of interest. Nursery students, kindergarten students, elementary students. Sa elementary po, yung grades 1 to 6, pwede pang hatiin ang kanilang mga interest din. We have the high school, the senior high school, and college students. All of those students would be having their different interests. Kung yung sa mga bata, sa mga kinder, or sa mga grade 1 and grade 2, talagang mahilig yan sa mga cartoons, then why not incorporate your lessons with some supplementary materials that they would be very attracted with? Kung makikita nila ang picture dyan ni Dora the Explorer, ni SpongeBob SquarePants, or kahit sinong character na paborito nila at kakilala nila, then they could associate that cartoon character or that particular figure to the learnings or the lessons that you have incorporated. Hindi ko naman po sinasabing pakitaan or ipalabas nyo ang cartoon sa kanila. No. Just a simple picture, you could just clip it here. Pwede nyo ilagay dyan sa presentation ninyo or after nyo mag-discuss, may games na nakalagay yung mga characters na yon, and I'm sure they will be very interested. Sa mga college po, sa mga students namin, very interested naman yan sa mga Korean dramas, sa mga K-pop, sa mga anime, manga. So, those are things that would really get the attention of our students. Another, here are some of the classification of the supplementary materials. So we begin with paper supplementary materials. Here are the examples. We have books. Lalo na po nung nandun tayo traditional teaching, we really have this. We have this dictionary, thesaurus, encyclopedia, and the other reference books, newspapers, the magazines. O sa ibang mga estudyante naman po at sa ibang mga teachers, they utilize the word cards or the flashcards. Kagaya po nito sa mathematics naman. And yung paggamit din po ng index cards, these are parts of the supplementary materials, the paper ones, the printed ones. We also have posters. Makikita po natin ito lalo sa mga kindergarten rooms, elementary rooms. And then we have posters as well as charts. So these are examples of paper supplementary materials. Another, we have this manipulatives. So if you're familiar with that math, word factory, Scrabble, chess, ito pong mga blocks, itong mga paper money, yung mga laruan na pera, yung mga coins, colored tiles, counters, sticks, bears, and cubes. All of these are examples of manipulatives. So you might be asking, paano po sa online teaching? Hindi naman pwedeng iharap lang namin yan sa estudyante namin at maglaro ako mag-isa at ipakita sa kanila kung paano ko siya nilalaro. Wala naman silang participation. Posible pa rin po. Why? Remember, lahat po ng mga ito, they have counterparts in the virtual world. Later po, we will discuss with that. I repeat, lahat po ng mga games na to, they have counterparts in the virtual world. So, meron po tayong virtual world factory. So, kung may utilize niyo po siya, you could encourage the student participation for this. Another, after manipulatives, We also have demonstrations. So, what's demonstrations all about? These are the actual presentation of doing something. That is why it's written here. Demonstrations would include words which would pertain to the audio plus performance. Bakit visual information? Kasi how we perform it could be seen by our students. Again, demonstrations would combine an audio information and a visual information. What we say, habang ginagawa natin, habang pinapakita natin sa kanila, we are explaining it one by one. Like for example, if you could see here in the illustration, these are the materials that the teacher is utilizing for a demonstration that she is doing. So ginagamit niya, pinapakita niya sa mga estudyante yung actual na materials and she performs it while she explains. Another, in connection with demonstrations, we also have the realia. So these are objects or activities used to relate classroom teaching to the real life. So the use of realia brings a welcome change in the class, a break from the typical class activities such as reading and writing. Because here, they tend to have a personal experience with what they are utilizing. Like for example, ituturo mo sa students ang lasa ng pagkain. So the best thing to teach them what is the taste of the food is for them to taste the actual food itself. So ganun po sa Realia. Ngayon, you might be thinking, paano po sa online? Since nasa bahay ang mga estudyante, pwede nating ibigay as homework. These are the materials that we will be using for our next discussion. And with the help of the parent, di po ba, uso naman ngayon, that we incorporate the parents into the learning process of our children since nasa bahay po sila. Then assistance could be provided with that. And the learning experience with the use of this could still be possible. And then, we have kinesthetic learning. This is the type of learning that students will most effectively acquire because of hands-on experience. Dito naman po sa mga nagtuturo ng biology or science, if you could still recall, sa mga laboratory po natin, meron tayong mga figures, meron po tayong mga actual dummy, which which are representations of the different parts of the body, the different organs of the body, the development of the human. As you could see, meron din po itong counterpart online. Meron din po itong virtual counterpart because there are a lot of interactive presentations to show this. They could also show the different processes or the different steps involved in the different systems which are taking place in the body. You just have to be resourceful. Kailangan lang po matyaga at masipag tayong mag-surf, mag-browse at mag-browse sa internet because they really provide good sources of information. We just have to choose which would be best for our students and which would be very suited for the discussion that we are going to have to support the learning process. So, Realia strategies, here are some of the things which could be useful for Realia. It has pros and cons. So, the lessons here can be included in the variety of lessons, guidelines. If you can always try to use a real object. However, if the object that we will be using is not available, we could use substitutes. And then this is what I've been mentioning. We have the virtual realia. It is often easier to show a student an object through a computer screen. So, when learning about dangerous objects or dissections, virtual realia could be very possible. And this one, the digital supplemental materials, ito po ang pinaka-in sa ngayon. So in other schools, I think they are utilizing already the IWB or the interactive whiteboard. So kung nakikita nyo po, drawing ka lang, touch, and drag it on a different place. So it's very easy, very interactive, responsive agad ang ginagamit mong material. Another, the ebooks. So in the internet, we could really download a lot of ebooks. May mga free naman po, although yung iba bibilhin talaga. But there are a lot of sources which could be utilized. Another, have the audio files. Audio files, something that could be listened to by our students. It could be in an MP3 format. And kung familiar po kayo, meron din tayong podcasts. This would contain some insights, explanations, or discussions wherein you could hear voices of the people discussing it. There are different topics that they discuss. And this could be very useful also for our students. We have a blogs. We also utilize our social media. O, lahat naman po may Facebook siguro, Instagram, LinkedIn, marami po ding social media. If you're utilizing Facebook, you could create or you could make a Facebook page or a Facebook group including your students. As you include your students, you post lectures, you could tell the students to share it. You could tell the students what we're supposed to do. They could send you a message, reply instantly, especially kung meron po silang tinatanong tungkol sa ipinasa nila sa inyo. Another thing, the video files. We have MP4s. We have vlogs. Yung vlogs po, article siya na binabasa. Yung vlogs, may mga video naman. If you're familiar with TED Talks, they would be inviting speakers for a particular topic and the speaker would discuss that. And very familiar naman po ang lahat sa YouTube. Now, so we have just discussed the different classification of supplementary materials. Again, I encourage everyone to log into menti.com and we have here a code, another code to be used. At this point, I would just like to see some of your thoughts and some of your answers about the question, which supplemental materials do you prefer to use? Please go to www.menti.com and use the code 885560. Again, log into menti.com and use the code 885560. So I'll be giving few minutes for you to answer. So kagaya po nito, no? In between our lectures, kung nasa klase po kayo, halimbawa, you're discussing with your students, you could incorporate some of these interactive activities. Pwede po kayong gumawa ng survey, pwede kayong gumawa ng mga polls, and then let your students participate. Okay? This would make them feel that you are involving them with what you are discussing. At the same time, kayo rin, mararamdaman ninyo na meron pa kayong kausap, that your students are still with you, listening, and getting some information from you. So at this point, tignan po natin ang resulta. Okay. So I think you're seeing the results of the answers from our participants. 15% said they would be using audiovisual file. 3% yung mag-incorporate ng educational games. And the combination of these resource materials, that's 81%. So that's nice. So hindi naman porke audio, puro audio lang po tayo. Of course, it depends on what lesson, ano po bang topic ninyo, sino po bang mga estudyante ninyo, ano po ba ang objective ninyo sa paggamit ng supplemental material na ito, and what would you like to achieve as to the use of this supplemental material. So it's very flexible. It's really up to you which of these are you most comfortable with and which of this would you think would be best for your students as you go on with the delivery of your lessons. Okay? So thank you so much for sharing your answers into which of the supplemental materials do you prefer to use in your lecture sessions. So the greatest percentage is the combined use of materials. Okay, so let's continue. So here are some pointers in using supplemental materials. I've mentioned earlier that we have to give clear instructions. We have to provide appropriate activities for students' levels and needs. Adopt for use at different levels, and games and other activities should have a clear purpose at the same time. So as you could see here, we have the components of the course design triangle. The course content is included inside. In the course contents, it gives you an idea about who are your students. First thing that you ask, if this is the section that I'm going to handle, who are these students? Consider also the class size, because there are some platforms wherein online platforms therein, there is a limit as to the number of participants that could be accommodated. So kung masyadong marami ang estudyante mo at hindi kaya ng platform na yon, then might as well consider use another platform so that you could accommodate all of your students. So sa platforms, marami po tayong pwedeng gamitin. At the same time, with regards to the size of your class, so that you will also know, should I divide the students accordingly if I will be assigning a group work, a group activity? Ilang kaya per ang ilang estudyante kaya ang pwedeng gumawa sa activity na ito? Or dapat ba ito gawin individually lang? Or would it be possible if I group them? Another, how many credits for the course? What courses come before and after in the curriculum, so that we will know which would be suited as a supplemental thing in our discussions. Then it's composed of the learning objectives over here. These are the statements that describe your goals for student learning. Another, the objectives are the bedrock of course design and shape all other components. Of course, the objectives will help us follow through what we want to achieve. Kung wala po tayong objectives, ano po ang direksyon ng ating tinuturo or ng ating ginagawa? Another part, it includes the assessment. So, the assessment would include the methods and the tasks used to monitor students' progress towards your objectives. Like for example, examinations, activities, projects, or presentations, which would allow us to gauge the knowledge of the students from certain topics or certain things that we have addressed to them. And also, part of this would be the instruction. So this is the day-to-day activities used to help the students reach the objectives you have set. More or less, the way or how we discuss our lectures to them, how we deliver the lessons to them, how do we transfer the knowledge or the information to them. This would all compose the course design triangle. Next, I would like to show you an example of a presentation. Pwede nyo po siyang i-adapt, pwede nyo rin po siyang mas pagandahin pa. Alam ko po, everyone has the capacity for making it more beautiful, more knowledgeable, more interesting for your students. Example ko lang po ito. So take a look at this. Supposing your topic is about learning, thinking, and memory. Yung first slide mo, andyan ang pangalan ninyo. Pwede nyo rin pong ilagay ang date if you want. And if you are very particular, pwede nyo rin ilagay ang section ng estudyante. Another, we begin with the objectives. You could name some. With your presentations, you could see you don't congest it too much with very long paragraphs. Okay? Don't congest it with too much paragraphs. At may instances din po kasi na makakita lang ng maraming mahabang nakasulat dito sa PowerPoint, ano nang naiisip ng estudyante? Ay naku, sobrang haba naman nito. Parang ang hirap intindihan, lalo po kung nakatapat tayo ng matagal sa computer screens natin or sa cellphones natin. Minsan po talaga, it's really a challenge when we are seeing too lengthy paragraphs. Para pong kapag nakakita tayo ng numbers, yung ibang mga tao, kasama po ako doon, pag nakakita ng mga numbers, feeling mo nahihilo ka na. Although simple lang yung mga numbers na yun. So let's make it into something that would be easily visualized. After the objectives, then you could present your topic. So this is just an example. You may add more. Pwede pong maraming slides, pero not too many. Depende naman po ito sa topic ninyo. Assuming you're done with the learning, then you make discussions. When you make the discussions, aside from explaining the concept, you incorporate it with a real-life situation. Lalo po kung yung topic naman is talagang pwedeng ma-relate sa nangyayari or sa na-encounter ng mga bata. And then, if you're using Zoom, you could have some recitations, getting some inputs from your students. What do they think about this? Have they experienced something about this? Just to continuously engage your students. Then continue with your discussion. Now, for a certain break, you could tell your students, let's test or let's try if you have understood what we have discussed. O wag natin agad sabihin, okay, quiz. Kasi the impact of that would be different as our students hear the word quiz or test. So let's be creative on this. Let's be creative on renaming what terms could be utilized as we discuss or as we present things to them. So halimbawa po, you want a multiple choice type of questions. Example, so sabi ko nga po, di ba, medyo mabusisi lang, medyo mahaba ang proseso, medyo challenging talaga ang paggawa, time-consuming, but I'm telling you, it's very worth it. The question, for example, the process of getting information into memory is called, here are your choices, registering, encoding, storing, and priming. Now you let your students answer. So what is your answer? So sasagot ang mga estudyante, for example, and they would say, Ma'am, it's registering. Okay, then click if it's your answer. As you click it, it doesn't end there. So take a look. It will direct you to this slide. Nice try. Okay, although hindi gaanong masaya ang mukha ng smiley. Then, we could try again. Okay? What about if we try the answer encoding? Okay? As you could see, awesome, you're correct. So as you could see, with just simple things, you could add interaction, you could be creative. Actually, pwede nyo pang lagyan yan ng sounds. Makaka-entice you on at makaka-motivate din yun sa mga estudyante. Just use the power of hyperlink. Ayan. And then, if you're done with that, you could also proceed on with another game. PowerPoint, kung paririnig natin siya, the first thing that would come into our mind would be, that is the one which is used when we make presentations, when we make our lectures. But the one thing that we should also know about this PowerPoint is that it could be utilized in unleashing our creativeness. So take a look. Simpleng PowerPoint presentation, pero pwede pala tayong gumawa ng game dito. With the use of your boxes, papalitan nyo lang yung kulay ng background. You will just modify or customize the font style. You will just add pictures or GIFs or other images that could make it more appealing could be good. Then let's start with the maze game. So as you could see, this maze is just made up of a combination of the insert shapes. And then later on, they were grouped together. And afterwards, they were given a hyperlink command that if you pass the maze properly without going outside of the lines, then you will not be game over. It will just allow you to continue. But if accidentally you go outside, take a look. Okay? Automatically, game over ka. But you could still have the chance to try it again. So you start. Be careful this time. You could tell your students, okay, be careful. O, pwede niyo pong lagyan yan ng mga text din. And let your students try at the same time. And if this time they become successful and they reach finish, automatically there is a greeting that would prompt. Okay? Next, not yet done with that. So, once you have discussed, once you gave them a challenge to answer, once you had the games, this time you could supply it with more information that would make them benefit and that would make them have a better retention of what you're discussing. So let's begin with an MP3 file. O example po, you use an image of an icon of MP3 o kaya kung gusto po ninyo piano or guitar to represent that this is an audio file. Add a hyperlink, and once you click it, take a look. Ayan po, meron tayong audio file.
Learning psychology is that the effects of the environment, conditioning, reinforcement, etc. provide psychologists with the best information.
Kung gusto nyo lang pong makinig, or gusto lang ng students na makinig and they would religiously listen while taking down notes, of course, you have to give a clear instruction to our students. While listening, you take down notes so you could get more information and details about the topic that we have discussed. It would really help you. So kahit nakapikit po yan bago matulog, uso naman sa mga bata, or kahit sa ating lahat bago matulog, hawak ng cellphone, magbabrowse, might as well pakinggan po nila ito na naka-incorporate sa lesson. And kahit nakikinig lang po sila, they are learning something. Another, if you choose to have a video file, you could incorporate another video file. You could download videos and then hyperlink it again to your presentation. Example po.
Memories are the building blocks of our identity. They represent who we are and where we came from. It's not hard to see why people cherish their memories deeply. But how reliable actually are our memories? How much of what you remember is real and how much is an illusion? Many people believe that memory works like a recording device. You play it back to recall exactly what happened. And yet, decades of research have shown that our recollections of the past are highly complex, easily influenced, and full of errors. Memories do not exist in a vacuum. Rather, they are continually disrupted by each other and by external factors. Our memories, Professor Elizabeth Loftus,
Okay? So, you could also add a link to the very famous YouTube. Sampulan po natin.
Our Earth is like a
Clive Waring was playing the piano alone in his room. When his wife came into the room, he immediately leapt up and embraced her with joyful enthusiasm. A minute later, she slipped out to grab a glass of water, and when she returned, he gave her that same bright greeting as if she'd been gone for days.
You have the suggested video, but make sure before you suggest it, na-review nyo po yan. Wag lang po tayong mag-attach ng mag-attach. Napanood po natin, naintindihan natin, and we have checked na yung video na yan is something that our students would greatly need. At the same time, wala pong malalaswang images or malalaswang or kung anumang hindi appropriate sa ating mga estudyante. And another good thing kapag ginamit po itong YouTube, aside from watching this video, there will be other suggested videos on this side which are related to your topics. So kung makikita po ninyo, kung hindi pa po sila satisfied dito sa inilagay ninyo, they still have the option to choose ano yung kanilang panonoorin pa or idadagdag pa sa kanilang discussion. So another, they could have blogs. Ito po. So about an article about improving learning and memory. So ayan po siya. We could see the whole article. Just make sure na review nyo po ang content nito if it's really suited to what you want to impart with your students. You could have some notes, additional reinforcement. O, titignan po natin dito. Ayan po. So, if you could see here, Unit 7, Cognition, Memory, Thinking, and Language. On this side, it contains other topics about your subject. Ayan po, kompleto siya. Don't worry, hindi lang naman po ito limited sa psychology because with other subjects as well, with other fields as well, po tayong makikitang ganito online. And then, meron pang mga practice activities, flashcards, multiple choice questions. And on this part, as you could see, we have other PDFs na naka-incorporate na rin. And our students could be able to access this. Okay? Very helpful po ito to supplement our discussions. And yung pinakauso po, ang e-books. Dati po ang uso is mga encyclopedia, ang daming volumes. But this time, since we're utilizing things online, we could access information online as well. Okay, open ko lang po siya. Okay, ito po ang PDF. Learning, Memory, and Cognition. Buong libro po ito that your students could use, which is based on the whole subject or even the topic that you assigned with them. So ayan po, it is a very good reference. Okay. So we have just seen the different things which we could utilize and a sample of the presentation that we could adopt with. Now let's proceed on with some tips for keeping our students engaged during classes. So simplify the lessons, like what I have mentioned before. We work on timings, especially kung sinabi niyo pong we will meet today or we will meet next week at 9 o'clock. Okay, wag pong eksaktong 9 o'clock tayo, tsaka pa lang tayo magse-set up at magbubukas ng ating mga laptops or mga phones. Better, we become good model to our students that we will be there maybe before 15 minutes or 10 minutes ahead of time so that our students will also have such kind of attitude. Hindi po nila ugaliing 9 o'clock pa lang babangon, kukonekta pa po sa internet, magbubukas pa po ng laptop, magsiset up pa po. Okay? Avoid lengthy explanations. Of course, how you discuss will definitely be one of the important things that our students would listen to and would be using in order to effectively understand the lesson. Okay? So it would be better to be straight to the point. We could give examples for them to easily understand it, and a variety of activities would be good. Siyempre po, di ba, kagaya natin, ayaw naman natin ng ini-expect ng bata, mamaya magpapaquiz yan si ma'am. Ganito yung quiz. Lagi namang essay lang yung quiz niyan eh. Okay? So we add variety. And we could also change the timing of that. It could be before, it could be in between our discussions, pwedeng pagkatapos ng discussions. It depends. It's up to you. And which you think is most appropriate. Like what I've mentioned earlier, instead of filling your presentation with a whole variety of a very long paragraph, it would be better to make it in a bulleted form. Or if you could still simplify it, just get the keywords here and then give the explanations. Doon naman po, di ba, sa PowerPoint, sa ilalim, kung habang nagpe-prepare pa lang kayo, meron siyang notes. Yung long explanations nyo po, pwedeng doon nyo ilagay. The keywords, the basic things could be included here. Next, adapt in-class activities to the virtual classroom. We do interactive lessons. We have question and answer sessions, lesson-related games, and we make use of the different features of educational platform. And make your students feel valued. It's very important that we make them really a part of our class. So although it is online, let us not make it a hindrance to become a barrier. That we get lost in such with our students, we fail to communicate with them appropriately because we do not make them feel that we are making them important as part of our class. So napaka-importante po na alam natin ang pangalan nila. Although it's really difficult, lalo kapag you are preoccupied with a lot of things and you have a lot of students, hindi naman po necessaryong kabisado natin lahat ng pangalan nila. Pero di pa ba, sa mga platforms, we encourage them to write or post their names so that when we are having an interactive discussions and we want to get some information from them, you could easily call on their names. Babasahin nyo lang po sa ilalim ng kanilang mga pictures dun sa icon nila. We would just call them, we would mention their names, and they will really feel that they are part of it. So review and recap lessons. I know you're familiar with this. Before we begin, this is the topic we had last time. It talks about this and that. And for today, this is what we're supposed to discuss. And then find out students' interests, incorporate them, give feedback on students' work. Okay? It depends on how are you going to give the feedback. Kung nagbigay kayo ng essay work at ipinasubmit ninyo online, then you could type your comments as well. And once you give it back to them, then they would be reading what are your thoughts on what they have written. Siyempre, maganda pong in-acknowledge natin at talagang binasa natin ang kanilang mga ginagawa. Aim to be positive and encouraging and have an encouraging presence. Next is set goals and help the students stick with them. Remind your students of their progress. Prepare a clear outline of the lessons. Give rewards for students for completing a task or a job well done. Use technology to your advantage. Ngayon po, let's take the advantage of utilizing our internet references which could be taken from the internet kasi po ito din talagang tool na gagamitin natin whether we like it or not because of this current situation. So it would be better for us to take a look at them and to try them at the same time. And then use different teaching platforms. Kung ano po yung pinaka-convenient sa inyo, I'm telling you, hindi naman natin kailangan, dapat, ito masyadong high-tech, dapat yun ang gagamitin, hindi po. Which is appropriate, which is suitable, which is appropriate for your internet connection kasi may mga platforms po na kailangan sobrang taas ng internet connection ang kailangan for them to function. So ito po, meron tayong Google Classroom, Google Meet. Ako po ay utilize Google Classroom, tsaka Zoom, kadalasan po. And then for making tests, have you tried Kahoot? Okay din po ito, para siya yung sa Menti kanina. May similarity po sila. Even Test Most, Edmodo, and Schoology, para po silang Google Classroom din. We have Zoom, we have Skype, we have Teams, Blackboard Collaborate, we also have Moodle. And then present your best online self. A while ago, we have mentioned about an attractive visual presentation. This time, it consider also the appearance of the teacher, how you show yourself in front of your students even online. So our neatness, our confidence as we speak, the pictures that you're going to use, the videos, animations should be good in good quality. Audio at the same time, a conducive environment free of unnecessary noise, variations in the tone of your voice. Wag lang po tayong parang robot na nakamonotone lang. As we give emphasis, we change on the tone of our voice. We either increase the volume, we either make it a little low, we either show that we are having emotions as we speak because the tone quality of our voice convey a lot of meaning. And since online po ito, mas malaki yung impact ng tunog na naririnig ng ating mga students. Then we practice different skills, use audio clips which are of good quality, kagaya rin po sa visuals. And internet connection, ayan po. Use audio clips which are of good quality. And also, bring fun into the classroom. Okay? Challenge na po ang pag-aaral. So, kailangan dagdagan po natin na para maging light ang ambience sa ating pagdidiscuss or pagtuturo. And then be patient with our students. Another thing, going back here, I'll just show you. May ipapakita lang po ako na additional interactive materials which we could utilize. Aside from these games, ito po. Since the topic is about learning, memory, and cognition, why not incorporate a memory game? Take a look at this po. Hyperlink lang po ulit. And then it could lead you to a memory game. Kagaya po nito, you can choose 12 cards ba ang gusto mo, 16 cards, and so on. And then you could actually play. Your students could actually play on this. Ayan po, example. Sana matandaan ko. Sana makita ko sila. Ayun. If you could see, meron po siyang mga tunog. Mhm. Tapos meron din po yung course later on. Okay, ayan. Gamitin. O, di ba? Meron pang drum roll. And flashcards. Ito naman po sa flashcards. So, memory. So, you could tell your students, you may try on with that. O baka sabihin ni students, you will just click no and don't know. Bibilisan niya lang yan. Before they could begin, under this, andito po ang mga words and andito ang kanilang mga definition. So the students could review first before they actually try. Or kung gusto naman nilang mag-take chances like this, you just click to flip. Ayan po ang kanyang meaning. If you know that, then you could transfer. You just say no and I don't know. If you think flashcards doesn't work for you, you may try another one. Kung gusto nyo po gawing crossword puzzle. O ayan po. Ito ang question, the statements. And here, you're just going to type. If this doesn't also work for you, we have the matching game. O, parang sa memory game lang po, you will just have to get the meaning and match it and click the box corresponding for its term. Meron din pong snowman. Ayan po. Magpipili lang tayo dito ng letters na ilalagay. So, that's also useful for our students. Okay? So, now, this time before we proceed on, since I think I have covered all the consents that I have given, I want to know what are your takeaways from the discussion. Log into menti.com again and use this code this time. 475941. What have you learned from the discussion? Please answer using a word or a phrase. So I'll give you some time to answer. Let's just wait for some responses. So let us see your responses here. Okay. So, ayan po, ang daming comments or ang daming words. Be resourceful, supplementary materials, instructional materials, any other things. Engaging, simplify the lessons, being creative. So, that's a good thing. And it's really good that you participated with this question. Salamat po. So I think this time we'll proceed on with the question and answer. Some answers are given here by, or some questions were given by our participants. Ito po, from Roma Miranda. I think it's somehow related with the question of Ma'am Jocelyn Agulto. How can the students access or use the PowerPoint presentation na ginawa ng teacher habang ongoing ang online class? May platform po ba that allows that? Tapos, it's related with, is the sample PowerPoint presented intended for synchronous or asynchronous online learning? If intended for synchronous, is it possible for students to do the clicking? How? So, ganito po siya. In the discussion that I have given, mostly you could see I'm the one doing the control, right? However, a good thing is that Vibal has a platform which is possible na pwedeng maki-interact ang ating mga students. So, paano po siya? So, just be familiar with V-Smart School. Okay? V-Smart School po, you access it. Si Vibal po ang explain ng ating paggamit ng platform nito. Okay? Ulitin ko lang po. Just try on the V Smart School. I think may post po si Vibal sa kanilang Facebook page. You could get an access on that. Another question po from Mary Rivera. Does manipulative materials possible for online learning? How do they do it po if it's a collaborative task? So for manipulatives, it is possible, pwede po natin gamitin yon, pwedeng individually and pwedeng collaborative. Kung individually, pwede po talagang humawak ng actual materials ang ating mga estudyante, lalo kung meron sila noon at hand, kung available po yun. Kung hindi naman available at hand, then they could make use of virtual substitutes, kagaya po ng sinabi kanina. However, if we want to make it a collaborative task, of course, we'll be utilizing the virtual form of the manipulatives. Okay? Yung virtual form po ng manipulatives, yun po ang ibigay natin sa students, and maybe they could be accessing those things that you would share with them. And they could have a discussion, paano ba to? Pwede silang mag-meeting to groups or through their groups. Gawa sila ng exclusive group nila for collaborative tasking, and they try on doing that materials. Okay. Another question from Ma'am Shaira D. May suggestion po ba kayo for engagement sa higher levels? Okay. In engagement, student engagement for higher levels, you could, I would suggest that you could utilize some of the things which are discussed here. However, it will be in a more advanced level too. Like for example, hindi lang basta paggamit ng mga illustrations. Depending on the subject, depending on the topic, use an illustration that would capture their attention. Another, the flashcards. Okay? So parang kapag nasa classroom ka, you have flashcards, you have materials, you hold them. Dito, gamitin natin ng flashcards online. Like in, for example, or ikaw gumawa ka po, we could make our own flashcards. I mean, you have the word, you have the boxes, and then afterwards, you link it with a definition. And then randomly po, mag-call tayo sa mga estudyante natin. Not just recite what is it all about, but give a deeper understanding or a deeper explanation on how do they understand that topic. So randomly po natin siyang gawin. Call a student, another student, and then you could connect it once again after nilang masagot ang tanong, or kung nahihirapan man silang sumagot sa tanong, give them the opportunity to call another classmate or to call another student. Kasi sa ganun po, magiging alerto sila o sino kayang susunod na tatawagin. Makikinig po sila ng maigi. Baka ako na yung susunod. So, they will stay in focus. They will stay in tune with the discussion. Kahit nasa higher level pa po yan, mamimaintain po natin ang engagement. Okay? So, I think ayun lang po yung mga questions. As I end the discussion, I want to leave this quote: learn something new every day. It's very important that we do not just waste our time. We do not just do the routine works that we are doing, but at least we have to learn more things, different things. Kahit po simpleng bagay lang yan. Kahit natingin nating maliit na bagay lang yan. Why? As we keep on learning, we have the capacity to share more to the people that we deal with. It may not only be our students, it may also be our co-teachers. It could also be a friend, it could also be a stranger. And the sources of the knowledge that we're getting in is very important at the same time. So whatever form is that, whatever thing is that, I would really suggest that for each of us, we have to learn something new. And once again, thank you very much for participating here. Also, I would like to give the opportunity to thank Vibal Group for inviting me to be one of the speakers for the webinar series. It's really good that every day all of us are learning. Alam ko napakaraming teachers na talagang nag-aabang sa mga webinars kasi it's really a good thing that we are getting a lot of information coming from different sources. And it's very interesting para rin tayong mga students, di ba? We never ever stop to learn. Dinadagdagan lang po natin ang ating mga knowledge. Okay? So, maraming salamat po once again. Here's my email address. Here's my WhatsApp number. If there's something that you would like to ask, you would like to clarify, eto po siya. Thank you so much once again.
There we have it. Thank you very much, Miss Jonna Carla Bien, for this very innovative and informative session that you have with us. Ma'am, before we end the session, do you have any final reminders or final tips for our viewers this afternoon?
Okay? So, I would just like to say, no matter how trying times we are, or no matter we are facing these trying times nowadays, our passion to do what we want, our passion to share our knowledge doesn't end. It still continues. We just have to explore, we just have to do and utilize other forms of it, and life goes on. So stay healthy and keep safe.
Okay, thank you very much, Miss Bien, for the tips for our viewers this afternoon. On behalf of the Bell Group Incorporated, I would like to thank you for this insightful learning session that you had with us. It is an honor, ma'am, to have you with us today. And of course, all our Kavibal viewers, thanks to your continuous patronage to our daily learning sessions, magkita-kita po tayo muli sa mga susunod pa nating webinars. Maraming salamat at magandang araw sa ating lahat.